Hi mathematicians, this is Mr. Almeida. Hope you're doing well today. In this video, we're going to talk about how to divide using the standard algorithm, particularly when the divisor has two digits. In yesterday's lesson, we talked about how to divide with one-digit divisor. Today, we're going to talk about a two-digit divisor. So I'll start off by saying that the process is exactly the same. The only difference is you're dealing with slightly bigger numbers, but you're going to follow the exact same process. So let's begin. A quick review of what we've discussed before is that when you have any number, say in this case A, divided by any number B, provided that you're not dividing by 0, because we know we can't divide by 0 because of what division is really asking us to do, we know that the first number is called the dividend, and the number that's doing the dividing is called the divisor. So when we set this problem up using a division table, we put the first number inside the division table called the dividend, and we put the number we're dividing by on the outside, the divisor. We talked about that the answer that we get, the number that we get that multiplies the divisor is called the quotient, and the number that we have left over is called the remainder. And we also discussed that the remainder has to be it could be any number from 0 to a number less than what we're dividing by. Because if the remainder is equal to the divisor or greater than the divisor, then our quotient can be at least one more time of that number. Okay, so we said that when we are dividing, we take the quotient times the divisor, add the remainder to equal dividend. And so we're actually going to be doing that. So when you have A divided by B, or in this case, 6,471 divided by 12, what are you really being asked? Well, you're being asked, what number times 12 plus what other number equals 6,471? This first number that multiplies 12 will be our quotient, and the number that we add to that is going to be called our remainder. So let us begin with looking at the steps for the division algorithm. The steps say that we're going to perform division with remainder on each digit of the dividend. Remember, division is finding out what number multiplies the 12. Anytime you're finding a missing factor, that's called division. And the remainder is the number that is left over after we have multiplied the 12 by whatever that number is. Okay? All right, so the first step is to look at the digits of the dividend. The dividend is 6,471, and we're going to write those digits down on the side. So 6 equals, 4 equals, 7 equals, and 1 equals. Then we're going to copy exactly what we wrote right here, some number times 12 plus some remainder on each of these lines. Some number times 12 plus some remainder, some number times 12 plus some remainder, some number times 12 plus some remainder, and some number times 12 plus some remainder. Okay. And as we're going through this video, if you need to pause so that you can write down what you see on the screen, please pause. If you need to rewind so that you can hear something again, please feel free to rewind as well, okay? This video you can play at your own pace so that you understand exactly what's being said. All right. Our first step in the division algorithm is to, division with remainder algorithm, is to perform division with remainder on each digit of the dividend. So we're going to start with the first digit of the dividend, 6. And we're going to ask ourselves, what is the greatest number times 12, greatest whole number times 12, that I can multiply by 12 without passing 6? Well, if I do 1 times 12, that's 12. That already passes 6. So it can't be 1. It has to be less than 1. That means it's 0. So I'm going to put a 0 right here. All right, so 0 times 12 is what? 0 times 12 is 0. Let's write the 0 right here so we can keep that in our mind and on paper. It'll help us later on when we're trying to see how this concept actually translates to the work that's typically shown using the division table. Okay, so 0 times 12 is 0, and then we ask ourselves, plus what number, so 0 plus what number equals 6? That is 6. So we put a 6 right here. Okay? All right, so we performed division. That's what number times 12 won't pass 6. And we performed remainder. So we performed division with remainder on the first digit of the dividend. Step 1, done. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 says to multiply the remainder of 6 by the number 10. So what is 6 times 10? 6 times 10 is 60. Okay, I did step 2. Let's move on to step 3. It says add that. What did we say that was? That was 60, because 6 times 10 is 60. So add 60 to the next digit of the dividend. Well, the next digit of the dividend is 4. If I add 60 to 4, I get 64. Essentially, when we're multiplying that remainder by 10, it's going to get one place bigger. So that 6 is going to go in front of the 4. So we have 64. All right. Did we perform steps 1 through 3? Yes, we did. Step 4 says to repeat steps 1 through 3 until there are no more digits. So let's start right back at the top again and start off right here. What's the greatest number of 12s, or what number times 12 won't pass 64? I might not know my multiples of 12, so off to the side, I'm going to do some guess and checking here. So I know this number is only going to be a single digit number. It's either going to be 0 through 9. But I know that, let me see. I know that 10 is a double digit number, and 10 times 12 is 120. So I know that half of that is 60. So then 5 times 12 is 60. Let me try that. Let me try 5 times 12. Okay, so that's 60. And 12 times 5 is 60. And so I think this is the number that goes here. And then I'm going to ask myself, 60 plus what number equals 64? 60 plus 4 equals 64. So that works, okay? So the one thing that we want to keep in mind is that our remainders always have to be less than 12. If we get a remainder that is not less than 12, that's equal to 12 or greater than 12, then that means that this number right here is actually less than what it should be. So that tells us that we have to go back here and figure out another time of 12 or another multiple of 12 that can be included here. All right, so I performed division with remainder again. Performed division with remainder on that digit. Now it's time to multiply the remainder by 10. So I have 4 times 10 is 40. And then 40 is going to be added to the next digit, which is 7. So 40 plus 7 is 47. So I'm going to put the 4 right in front of the 7. Now I have 47. Okay, now it's time for me to start the process all over again. Perform division with the remainder on this now. So what's the greatest number times 12, greatest whole number times 12, from 0 to 9, that won't pass 47? Okay, so let me try out 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. So 48's too much. So therefore, I'm going to do 12 times 3. Or commutative property says 3 times 12. All right, so I have 3 times 12 is 36. And then I'm trying to figure out 36 plus what number equals 47. If I need to, I can write 47 minus 36, because that's what I'm really asking. And that's 11. So 11, okay? So I performed division with remainder, again, always checking to make sure that my remainder is less than what I'm dividing by, which is 12. And that's the case, so I can move on. Then I multiply 11 by 10, I get 110. I add 110 to the next digit of the dividend, which is 1, and I get 111. So I'm going to put the number 111 right there, okay? Now I start the process all over again, and lucky for me, I'm at my last digit, so I know that I can stop here after I'm done with this step. Okay, now I ask, how many copies of 12, or what's the greatest number of 12s, that won't pass 111? Well, I think this is going to be on the higher end. I know it's not going to be close to 5, so let me try 9 for now. Let me see if that works. So 9 times 2 is 18. I put the 8 down, write the 1 on top. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. That's 108. So, yeah, 108 is only 3 away from 111. So yes, that works. So I'm going to have 9 times 12 is 108. And then I'm going to ask 108 plus what number equals 111, or 111 minus 108, and that is 3. So again, my remainder is less than 12, what I'm dividing by, and now I am done. It says repeat these steps until there are no more digits. So there are no more digits here. And my quotient is going to be, I'm not going to start with the 0. I'm going to pronounce everything else, though. So I'm going to say 539. So 539 is my quotient times 12 plus what remainder? Well, I have a lot of remainders, but the remainder that counts here is the very last one. So that is my remainder for the entire problem, the very last remainder you get. So here is my quotient. And here's my remainder. Quotient right here, remainder right here, the very last one. Okay, so if I were to do the multiplication, if I were to multiply 539 by 12 and then add 3 to that, that will equal 6,471. And you can check to see that this is your correct answer by literally multiplying 539 times 12 off to the side if you'd like, and then adding 3 to it, and you'll see that it equals 6,471. Let me just verify that that is what it is. 539 times 12. 2 times 9 is 18. Write the 8 down, put the 1 on top. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. 2 times 5 is 10. That's a double-digit number, so I'm going to write 0 down here. And I'd put the 1 up if 2 was multiplying another number, but it's not. So I'm going to put the 1 down below. Now I'm going to clean up shop now that I've multiplied 2 by 539. Now I'm going to multiply 539 by 10, because that 1 is in the tens place. So because I'm multiplying it by 10, I'm going to put a 0 here, and then I'm going to start my first digit underneath the 7. Okay, 1 times 9 is 9. I like when we multiply by 1. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 5 is 5. So I'm going to add this up. 7 plus 9 is 16. 0 plus 3 plus 1 is 4. 1 plus 5 is 6. And now I'm going to take 6,468 and add what to it? The remainder of 3. So I add 3 to it. 8 plus 3 is 11. Write the 1 up there. 6 plus 1 is 7. 4 plus 0 is 0. and 6 plus 0 is 4. 6 plus 0 is 6. So I have 6,471. Is that what's here? Yes. So I indeed checked to make sure that my answer was correct. Take the quotient times the divisor, add the remainder to equal dividend. One more time. Take the quotient times the divisor, add the remainder to equal dividend. Okay? And that's how you can check to see that you have divided properly. So with that, we're now going to see how this, this conceptual idea, the actual algorithm laid out a little bit differently in setup, is to be shown when we're using the division table. So the first step is we're going to put all of the digits of the dividend, 6,471, under the table, and we're going to make sure it's nice and neat. And then the divisor goes on the outside. Then, just to keep things organized, I'm going to ask you to place blanks above each digit of the dividend in the quotient. And then we're going to perform division with remainder. So we ask ourselves, what's the greatest number of that I can multiply by 12? And some people like to do this so that you know that this number multiplies, that this, whatever this number is, multiplies 12. So if it's helpful, you can put that there. So what number times 12 won't pass 6? Well, if we're dealing with 0 through 9, it's only 0. So I'm going to put a 0 here. 0 times 12 is 0. So that 0 that I had right here, I'm now going to write right underneath the 6. And I'm going to subtract 0 from 6, or ask 0 plus what number equals 6? And that answer is 6. You see that the remainder that I have right here is now right there, okay? Next, I'm going to multiply the remainder by 10. This now makes it 60, and I'm going to add it to the next digit, which is 64. With this division table, we essentially, these two steps right here, steps 2 and 3, allow us to simply pull down the next digit because this 6 has gotten one place bigger, which means it's going to shift one place to the left, and the 4 can simply fall into place, okay? So steps 2 and 3, when you're using the division table, allow you to simply pull down the next digit after you've done division with remainder, okay? All right, now we ask how many copies of 12 are there in 64, or what number times 12 won't pass 64? Well, it's going to be, the maximum number is 5. So we're going to put a 5 right there. 5 times 12 we know is 60. So we write the 60 underneath, the 64. And we perform division. Now it's time for the remainder. 64 minus 60 is 4. Okay? And that's that 4 right there. Then we multiply it by 10, 40, add it to the next digit, 47, or steps 2 and 3 allow us to simply pull down the next digit. Now we have how many copies, making the number 47, by the way. Now we ask, what's the greatest number, whole number, that can multiply 12 that won't pass 47? And we know that that is 3. So we put a 3 right here. 3 times 12 is 36. We got that from right here. And then we're going to subtract. We get 11, and that's the remainder that's right here. Remember, remainder always has to be less than what you're dividing by. And then we multiply the remainder by 10, add it to the next digit, which is 110 plus 1 makes 111. Again, steps 2 and 3 allow us to simply pull down the next digit. And then we ask one final time, what's the greatest whole number that can multiply 12 without passing 111? And we came up with the number 9. So we put a 9 right here. 9 times 12 is 108. We got that from right here. And then we subtract. Some people like to do the crossing out and grouping and ungrouping. What I like to do is mentally think about this. This is 111, and I'm subtracting 100 from this number. If I subtract 100 from 111, I am left with 11. Now, if I subtract 8 from 11, I'm left with 3. So that's the way I do it. If I'm trying to do it sometimes without having to draw all of the crossing out. But if you want to cross out the 1 right here and write a 0, and then cross out this 1 and put 11 right here, you're more than welcome to do so. All right, and you'll notice that our work matches what we came up with over here, and this is how you'll typically be asked to show your work. So you can start out with this, but always know that this is the end goal. Okay. So I hope that you use this video to help you divide using the standard algorithm. When you are trying to figure out what number you're multiplying by or how many copies of your double-digit divisor you need, it's helpful to do some guess and checking on the side, and then you'll be able to use that to help you figure out other divisions as you go through the actual entire problem.